Hey, welcome back to the True LAINE YouTube channel. I'm Chelsea, and today I'm going to be walking you through everything that I knit last year in 2023. 2023 felt like such a long year. Putting together everything that I made, some of these things feel like such a long time ago, more than a year, and I'm really excited to kind of review and reflect on what I made. I had so many big goals in 2023. I started knitting in 2022, so that was kind of my first year of getting used to the craft. And then 2023, I had all these big goals of doing cables and color work and new to me techniques. I did a few of them. I definitely stepped outside my comfort zone a little bit, but 2024, I'm looking forward to even more of that, I think. So I might talk a little bit at the end about what my 2024 plans are going to be, but mostly this is going to be focused on everything I made last year. I'm wearing a new, recently finished object today. This is my Louvre sweater. It's a pattern by Petite Knit, and I knit mine in Sorella Yarns Classic DK in the color newsprint. I finished this last month in December, and I love it. I'm going to go largely in chronological order because that makes the most sense to me. Without further ado, let's dive into my first project I made last year. The first project I finished last year is the Date Night Sweater by Caidree. This will also be a test of my memory to see if I can know these things without looking them up. But I knit this in Concept by Katia's Cotton Merino in the color Coral. And you can kind of see the neckline has stretched out a little bit. It's a little droopy. It has this beautiful lace and bobble detailing on the front, and this was my first finished object of 2023 because I wanted to learn lace knitting, and I had so much fun knitting this. I think I finished it in 2 weeks. I loved working with the fabric. I love wearing it. It's so soft. I mean, I love wearing the fabric. The actual sweater itself, I have to say, I haven't worn too awful much. I wore it a lot when I first finished it, but continuing trend from 2022, it's just a little too short. It kind of cuts off, again, 2 centimeters before I would actually want it to. I have a kind of constant habit of knitting things just a little bit too short, and that happened with this guy too. So I have to say also, I think the cotton kind of holds its shape in a bad way more than wool. It kind of creases a little bit and looks a little flat sometimes. There's definitely been some pilling. I don't know if you can see the little puffy guys coming off of there. It just doesn't look as fresh as some of my other sweaters have. So this isn't one. Oh, and you can really see the pilling kind of the bottom hem there. I really wish this was a little bit more perfect. It's even something I would consider reknitting if the fabric, or if the yarn, I'm sorry, wasn't so grippy. It really sticks to itself, so kind of unraveling this would be somewhat of a nightmare. Overall, I think the sweater is so beautiful. The sleeves are a little too short as well. It just kind of, it looks perfect lying flat, but when you insert a 3D body inside, everything kind of shortens up to a little bit of an awkward length. So maybe I should try to wear it more. Maybe I should try and put some elastic in the neckline. Maybe that would help me with the droopiness. But it looks so beautiful on the shelf. So I mean, it lives in my drawer, but it should go on a shelf because it's so pretty. It is a pattern that I would make again. I'd love to make it in a kind of springier wool. Yeah, I was very proud of this sweater. I still am. It was so much fun to knit, and I do recommend the pattern. So the second thing that I knit this last year, 2023, was my sweater number 14 V-neck. This I love. It is a sweater pattern by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I knit mine in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter using the color Woodsmoke, held together with a strand of Rowan Kidsilk Haze Mohair in the color Bark. And it created this wonderful fabric. This is something that I wear pretty regularly in the winter. It's got this great deep V-neck with 2x2 ribbing on the edges. This thing is just great. It's worn really well. I love the yarn. I love this Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. It's so nice. Oh, look, the sun's coming out over there. You can kind of see. and it's a super oversized fit. I knit the size 1. Unfortunately, there's only 3 sizes, so I would recommend, if you like the sweater knitting, the Harlow sweater v-neck by, I think that's by Caidree also, which I think has a little bit more expanded size range, but I do wear this one quite a bit, and it just feels like such a warm hug. What else to say about this one? It's a favorite, and it's a year old now, and it's just more great. There is a little bit of pilling, but not much. I've heard a rumor that maybe silk mohair helps with things not pilling. Don't quote me on it, but that's what I've heard. And then I knit this pair of socks out of Rowan felted tweed yarn. It's a yarn that we carry at the shop, and I really wanted to work with it. I made just a pair of 2x2 rib vanilla socks at a DK weight gauge. However, felted tweed is a little bit on the thin side, so it's not like, it's a little bit of a thinner fabric than I might have wanted. I don't know, I don't think you can see on camera, but it is a little holey. And I used a green that I want to say is called Forest, and I think the tan is called Stone. And I've actually been reaching for these a lot more lately. I didn't wear them too much because they kind of turned out kind of loose and big, but this winter I've been wearing them with my boots, and I really like them. So I would knit another pair of felted tweed socks. I think the yarn is so pretty. It's by Rowan. I think the only thing I would do is knit it on a smaller needle. This was on a 3.25, and I think maybe a 2.75 would satisfy me a little more. But I think they're really cute. I really like how they turned out. I started them I think in December of 2022, but this was my first pair of socks in 2023, which was a year that I was planning on making 1 pair of socks every month. You will quickly notice that that did not happen. The next thing I finished this year was a project in 2023, was a project I started in 2022, which is the Rubus blouse. And I have a couple of these. I have this handy dandy tag on it because it's on display at the yarn shop right now. But this is the Rubus blouse, which is a pattern from Refined Knitwear. And I used 2 strands of Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the color Dusty Olive. And it's an all mohair square neck puff sleeve tee. I like how this turned out. I'm not obsessed with it. I couldn't pick up enough stitches for the neckline, so it didn't quite get the defined square shape that I was wanting. And I think I also could have gone up a needle size on the I-cord for the neckline. So it's just kind of a little rounded square neckline. And then the sleeves are quite puffy. It looks cute on, it does. It's just not something that I reach for. I think because of the way the sleeves kind of fold in. I'm wearing it in a I'm wearing it in a podcast from last year that you can kind of tell it, like the puffs kind of fold in towards the front, which isn't something that I love, but I do love the fabric. Knitting for Olive mohair is one of my all-time favorites. I love how this garment feels. It's to me, it's not prickly, it's not scratchy. I can wear it next to skin and it feels great. And the length on this one, I have to say, is perfect. So well done me. Got those extra 2 centimeters in. I really like the way 2 strands of mohair feels in a garment. It's warm, but not too warm. It's comfy. It's kind of elegant, but not too fancy. And that's something I would really like to make again. So, Rubus blouse, love it. Don't wear it as much as I should. And because of that, I loaned it to the yarn shop to have on display. So if that doesn't tell you how often I wear that garment, then okay. The next thing I knit was this pair of really cute socks. And this is one of my favorite sock yarns of all time. It's the Kinetic Knitter Sugar Cookies colorway. And I knit the Everyday Hermione socks in it. These are I think my favorite socks ever. I promise. I know I've said that a lot before, probably, but these actually are. You can tell they're my favorite because I don't wear them. I don't want anything to ever happen to them. They're so exquisite. I just did my best knitting job on these. There's nary a hole around the heel flap and gusset. and they're just so tight and even, and I was just really impressed with myself. So the yarn was so even all the way throughout the skein, and I just love them. So I followed the stitch pattern for the everyday Hermione socks, but I followed the Crazy Sock Lady vanilla sock heel flap and gusset because that's what I know, that's what I love. And so I did knit a second pair of socks in the winter of 2023. These are them. In love. The next thing that I finished, oh boy, is I think my favorite sweater ever that I've made. And it is the Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis. I knit mine out of the Fibreco's Lore, which is a lamb's wool, Romney wool, DK. I don't remember what kind of wool it is, but oh, it's so good. The colorway is called Serene. It's a light heathered grayish off-white color. I wear this all the time. I think I knit it in March of 2023, and the yarn has worn so nicely. There are a few pills, but I have not actually run a D-pillar over this. So for not doing any D-pilling, I think it looks pretty good. The yarn I am super looking forward to working with again. It's really a rustic feel. It's not soft to the touch, but it feels good on my body, and I like how it feels. Everything about this sweater just fits so nicely. I reached for it almost as much as my sweatshirts, which is really saying something because I love my sweatshirts, and that's kind of my go-to for a comfy day. I would love to knit another one of these in the same yarn in a new colorway, because that's how much I wear it. If there's any pattern you make out of this video, let it be the Dad Sweater, because it's just so good. And I highly recommend this yarn. If your skin can handle a little bit of that kind of rustic feel, go for it. It's so nice. All right, next up, from perfect happiness to perfect misery, this is my Lento sweater, which is a pattern that I knit up last spring. What to say about this guy? I used Sunday Fibreco's Barefoot organic sock, I think it's called, in the colorway Ranunculus, which is one of the most beautiful yarn colorways I've ever seen, held together with a strand of Rowan Kidsilk Haze in the color Cream. And the Lento is a pattern by a designer whose name is escaping me, but I will, of course, have everything linked in the description below. Oh, Jonna Hietala. Apologies if I pronounced it wrong. It is a fingering and mohair sweater knit on a very loose gauge, and boy did I struggle with that. I just couldn't get the tension right. My yarn was slick. I think it's a superwash yarn, so it felt pretty slippery at that gauge and just not quite turning out the way that I envisioned. I also had 2 skeins of yarn from 2 different dye lots, which I didn't realize until after I'd started the project. And so that was kind of a bummer too, because I ended up frogging this back, I think 3 times to try and distribute the color more evenly. I don't mind color pooling, I'm kind of over it now, but just the experience of knitting this sweater kind of fed to my unhappiness with the finished garment. I think the last time I wore this was last spring, so this isn't something that I reach for very often. It doesn't bring me very much joy. It is something I literally might frog. I just don't feel like it gave me what I wanted from it. Maybe this is even something that I would sell as is for someone else to use the yarn for, but I don't know if that would actually work because the yarn is from 2 different dye lots, so I don't know if somebody else would even want to deal with that. But I wouldn't knit another one, I have to say, but I do love the color of the yarn, so that's good. And maybe I'll wear it a couple more times in the spring, who can say. It definitely has a very springy kind of vibe to me. So I also have kind of struggled with this one a little bit. This is my Port sweater, which is a pattern by Ozetta. I love the color. The main thing I was unsure about this pattern or this project was the color, and I love it now. I'm so glad that I committed to it. The main yarn is Berroco Ultra Alpaca, and then the color is Hops, and then I held that with a strand of Madelinetosh Impression, which is their mohair silk, and that color was called Oak. Yes, the port sweater has this really cute ribbing detail at the sleeves, and lots of big chunky ribbing everywhere. So the deal with this sweater, I used alpaca wool blend, and number one, it is so itchy. My skin does not hang out with alpaca very nicely. It's the only thing that bothers me. I can wear a rustic wool, mohair doesn't bother me. Something about alpaca just, not scratch, but I can feel it and it's itchy. So I have to wear a long sleeve under this thing, but I do it because the color is so good. The fit is also not my most favorite thing. And I gotta say, I'm sure my gauge is a little bit loose. I think this turned out larger than intended. And the alpaca, I think, makes it quite drapey. You can see how floppy this thing is. Whereas my friend Maya made one, and hers is with a nice springy wool that kind of, you know, shapes itself. This guy, not so much. So the neckline is super, it just kind of opens up. It doesn't stand up at all. And the sleeve shape, I don't know, it's just kind of barrel-y. That's not very flattering on my arm. So I gotta tell you, I do reach for this quite a bit in the winter because I think the color is so good. But I think the fit could just be so much better. I've thought about putting a little elastic in the collar, but it's also such a heavy sweater that I don't know if that would actually end up looking good. I guess I'll never know unless I try, but I don't think I would re-knit the port sweater. I think I'd rather do a different worsted weight pattern, but I do wear this quite a bit in the winter because I think the color is so nice. I think also I knit the sleeves a little bit too long. So there's a couple things I might have done differently about this sweater, but in the end, I wear it quite a bit. So it's been worth it, I gotta say. The next thing I knit is also my pride and joy, a pair of socks that I never wear because I don't want anything to happen to them. They are the Cider House socks by Summerly Knits. And wow, do I think these are gorgeous. This was my first experience doing cables, and I think the fact that it was on socks made it a little more challenging than it maybe would have been. But the finished product is so worth it, and they're just stunning. The yellow and the main color are from a sock set from La Mercerie. They are Woolberry Fibre Co. in Sandcastle, and the yellow doesn't have a name, it's just Sandcastle sock set. And then the cream is from Manostil Uruguay. It's the Allegria sock yarn in the color Natural. Yes. These, I don't quite remember what I did with the stitch counts, but they're slightly smaller than I usually make, and they're pretty tight on my foot. So it's kind of hard to get it over this part of my foot. But I mostly don't wear them because I want to preserve them. They're so beautiful, and I'm so happy with how they turned out. So I think also on this, I followed the stitch pattern for the socks and then did my own heel flap and gusset. It kind of screwed with it a little bit because you can see this side, my little gusset pickup is nice and straight. And then this side, my gusset pickup has all these funky little lines. Can you tell? It's a heel. Who's gonna see? I don't care. But yeah, I love these so much. And I would totally knit this pattern again. It was really fun. They just turned out beautiful. I love the contrast of the sporty stripes with the really traditional cable pattern. And I just think they're adorable. I think if I got like Birkenstocks, I would wear these a lot because you would be able to see like the whole sock in the sandal, but I don't have a pair of those, so right now I just wear them sometimes around the house, and oh, they're so cute. The next thing I knit was another garment. We're getting into the kind of spring, early summer now, and I knit the Summer Souffle by Laura Penrose, which is this adorable ruffled tee that I made out of Brooklyn Tweed Dapple, which is a cotton merino blend in the color macaron? Nope, that's not what it's called. Powder? Barely There. It's called Barely There, and it's a really, really soft kind of seashell pink. And I love how this turned out. I think I could have gotten away with knitting one size smaller because I went up a needle size to be happier with my fabric, because the yarn is slightly thicker than a DK in my opinion. And so I probably should have gone down a size of the t-shirt, but I wore this all the time in the spring and summer. I love it. It goes with so many things. I knit it to the perfect length. Yeah, I love how this turned out. Another mod I remember making is that I made the ruffle half as ruffly. I know, and it still turned out like this. So if you, like me, want a slightly less frilly top, that's what I would do. I think I picked up half the amount of stitches that it said to do and then just followed the pattern exactly. So this is another huge win. I wore this one all the time in the spring and summer. It was so fun to knit, so quick. I mean, these things with their short sleeves, it's just bing, bam, boom, it's over. My ribbing looks really nice. This was really a pleasurable project, and I would love to knit another one. But that is a pattern I would follow just to make a circular yoke tee without any accoutrements, no ruffle, no extra anything. I would just make a simple tee with that pattern because I'm so happy with the fit if it was a little smaller. Okay, the next thing I made was another pair of socks. I so badly wanted to knit these in the spring because I used Sorelli Yarn's You've Got Mail sock colorway, the Shop Around the Corner, I think it's called. They're stunning. They have this 90s peachy movie haze to them that I don't know how you can accomplish with dyeing, but it literally looks like the movie. And these are socks that I love so much. I do wear them all the time because they just bring me so much joy. It went into this amazing kind of striping pattern, and I just love them. I followed the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla sock pattern. I love knitting vanilla socks, top to bottom, one color. That is what I'm into right now. I don't want any contrast heel, cuff, nothing. No extra ends to weave in. Give me these basic vanilla socks and let the yarn sing to me. That's what I'm into right now, and I think that's what makes one of these some of my most worn socks. I mean, you can see they're like felting a little into themselves because I wear these in my boots all the time. The next thing, so my dad's sweater and this guy are by far my most worn sweaters. This is a delightfully green Cumulus blouse, which is a petite knit pattern. Knit in Olivia and Oliver Fibers Surrey alpaca lace in a one-of-a-kind green colorway. That is just stunning. I held 2 strands of Surrey together so there is no airflow between these stitches. It's so warm and cozy. And this was a little mini knit along I did with my friend Hannah from Pages and Pearls here on YouTube. The fit is so good. It's so soft. I mean, this Surrey alpaca is no prickle factor. It feels like a cloud, but it's not too hot. It's just so good. I always wear it with a white tee underneath. I really like wearing my white cotton merino anchor tee that I knit in 2022 underneath it. I wear it all the time. I would love to have 100 Cumulus blouses in every color. And I'm not even a v-neck person, but it's just such a cute top. And again, the kind of Surrey or Mohair, these fluffy yarns, they're a little bit elegant, but not very fancy. And that's just what I love about them. I wear this to work all the time, to my office, and I used exactly 4 skeins of yarn for this, like 2 strands of Surrey held together. So that's what, 328 yards times 2, 660 yards. yeah, I just love this. I have a couple, well, I have one other Cumulus sweater quantity in my stash from Ballyhora Fibers. That is a really soft kind of neutral gray, because I would love to have this in a different, this is such a bright look at me color that I would really like to have one in a neutral. But this is, I cannot believe I made this. It's another like staple garment that I wear at least once a week. I just rotate between dad's sweater and my Cumulus all the time, and it's such a wonderful piece to wear. I don't think I made any modifications. Love this thing. Green is truly my favorite color. So after my Cumulus win, back to another meh piece. This is a really cute pattern. It is the Last Tank by Friday Knits, and it's a fingering weight pattern, but I used a sport weight yarn. It's Madelinetosh Wool Cycle Sport in the color Kawaii. And as soon as we got this yarn into the shop, I could not resist. I knew I needed to make something with it. It's a really nice peach base with kind of neon confetti colored sprinkles. It's a 2x1 rib tank. It looks really cute here. It doesn't look as cute on my body. I'm gonna give it a couple more tries this spring and summer and see if I like it. So it has kind of these fold over hem situation along the armhole and the neck. And then the body is supposed to have ribbing, but I did a fold over hem on the body as well, which doesn't flare out when I'm wearing it, if you can see at all in vision. But I don't know, I think I should have made one size up just for a little more comfy fit. The neckline is a little tight, the armholes are a little tight, and I did, I think, end up going up one needle size to do the armholes. But I think also I knit it too long at first, and so I frogged back, and then I think I frogged back a little too much, so now it's a little bit too short. And so this is kind of a truer color than when I'm holding it back, but I wore it to flock, I think is what I did. So that's the only time I've worn it in public. So I'll give it another try this year, but I just don't feel like my cutest, most comfortable self in this. But I do really like the look of the garment. I think it turned out adorable. So I just wish it had a little bit more room. But I do recommend the pattern, and this yarn is just my favorite. Madelinetosh Wool Cycle Sport. It's so nice. And they have great colorways. Wow, after that, this is what I made. I guess I forgot that I made this in the summer, but next up is my stripe hype sweater, which is such a cozy warm sweater. This is a pattern by Veronica Lindbergh, who I became obsessed with after knitting this pattern. She's so cute, and I love a lot of her patterns. So my stripe hype, love it so much, was inspired by Kahila from Handmade with K here on YouTube. She test knit this pattern in a lethal combination of yarns from Sorella. One was a mauve color and one was an emerald green color, and I lost my mind over that sweater last year. It's my favorite thing she's ever made. It just looks so good. And I wanted to start stash busting last year, and I didn't have anything in my stash that could work for something like this until I took all of my stash and put it on my bed, and these two balls of yarn happened to bounce close to each other. And I thought, wait, one's a blue, one's a red, kind of like Kahila's blue-green, red-mauve situation, a warm color, a cool color. Let me do this. And so the blue is Sandasgarn Sisu, which is a merino, maybe not merino, a wool nylon blend. And then the red color is Knitting for Olive merino. Yes, in Dusty Robin with a strand of the Mohair. So the red stripes are double-stranded fingering with a Mohair, and the blue stripes are just double-stranded fingering. But I felt like the Sisu had a little more oomph than the merino, so it kind of all worked out. But this, I think I might have made the size 2. I think I sized up for more of an oversized fit. I did that. So I think maybe I didn't need to do that. It's definitely oversized and I like how it fits on me. I think if I made this again, I might size down and maybe not knit it quite so long. I think I did cut off maybe an inch of the ribbing than what it said to do in the pattern, but it's so cute. I love wearing this. I always feel like it's so striking. I feel this is one of the sweaters that I feel cool in, like, and it's something I feel dainty in some things. I feel more romantic in some things. This one I just feel very cool when I wear it. I think that's because of the color combination. It's kind of unexpected, and yeah, I just love it. I love the little detail of the contrast color at the end of all the ribbing, twisted rib. I don't know, it's just a really good sweater. I love the pattern. Everyone went stripe crazy when this came out and that made me so happy. Anyway, this is definitely another that I just love. It looks so store-bought in the best way. I think stripes kind of have that effect. I don't think I've quite woven in all my ends yet. I wove in really a lot of them. There they are. Under the arm, I still have these guys. Is this something I'll do in 2024? I don't know. I'm feeling inspired to do it right this second, so I think there is a world where I finish weaving in the ends. But that is the Stripe Hype by Veronica Lindberg. I'm so excited to make the Stripe Hype dress this year. I've got the yarn for it. It's gonna be stunning. And this one was another quick one. I think I did it in 2.5 weeks. How is that possible? That's insane. Another thing I knit in the summer is this delightful Audrey top, which is a pattern by Petite Knit. It came out last summer. And I used Paisley Yarns Classic DK. That's not what hers is called. It's a DK weight yarn. I can't remember what it's called, but it's DK Superwash Merino. In the color Scene Change Heartstopper. Don't let anyone make you disappear. That's what it's called. It is this gorgeous creamy base with kind of like Lisa Frank colored rainbow speckles. There's red, there's pink, lilac, purple, mint, yellow. It's wonderful. I put a little elastic in the back so you can tell it kind of zoops up when it's hanging, but when it's on my body, it looks like this. And I just fell in love with the Audrey top from this pattern. It is exactly the type of tank top I like to wear. I like really high neck things that show off my shoulders or collarbone area, and I don't like anything that's low. I like opposite. I want it up here, and this was just, it fit the bill perfectly. And it was a bottom-up pattern, which I'd never done before, I don't think. Yeah, I'm just super happy with the length. Good job me. Little wins. And this is another one that I wore to flock, and I just felt so cute and happy in this piece, and I immediately started knitting another one. Well, almost immediately. So that is my Audrey top with my Paisley Knits yarn. Next, it looks like I made the weekend hat, and lo and behold, this is exactly the yarn I was talking about, Kahila's sweater. So the pink is Sorella yarn in the color Studio, and the green is the color Lodge. And these are 2 fingering weight yarns that I held together to make Petite Knit's weekend hat pattern. Kahila graciously sent me the leftovers from her Stripe Hype sweater, which is what I used to make this, because she had originally been going to use these 2 yarns to make a marled sweater, and then ended up striping them for the Stripe Hype sweater. And I thought that was such a genius idea that when she sent me the leftovers, I decided to pay homage to my color guru, as I love to call her, and marl them. So I decided on the weekend hat, and I love this thing. I wear it really a lot. In my last podcast episode, or maybe a couple episodes ago, someone gave me a genius idea to sew some fleece or fabric, cotton, something into the inside so that I don't get left with 1x1 ribbing across my forehead, because it doesn't fit tightly, it fits snugly, but it always like leaves across my forehead. But I gotta say, I wear it all the time. It's so cute, and it kind of goes with all my outfits. I don't know how, but I think maybe it's because there's that red or not red, but warm tone and cool tone. It kind of balances anything else I wear out. This was actually one I had to go back and fix because the first time I knit it way too tall and pointy because I effed up the decreases, but now it is perfect and I wear it all the time, and I'm so happy to have it this fall and winter season. So this is another huge win. I really do wear this all the time. So thank you for sending me your yarn, Kahila. Made my day, made my month, my year. Oh my gosh. This I started in 2022. I went on a sweetheart ribbed top kick in 2022 Friday knits. It's such an adorable pattern. This is my second one that I knit, and I made a couple of mods, but I used Fibre Spate's Vivacious 4-ply in the color Gecko. It kind of matches my new curtains. How lovely. But this is a, I think 2x2, yep, ribbed camisole. I held 2 strands of fingering together to make this, and it has this beautiful sweetheart neckline. And I usually wear this kind of under a button-up, like a flowy but open button-up. And I modded it by making I-cord straps. My other one has wide ribbing straps. I really had fun making this as the second one that I made because my first one was my very first German short rows project in 2022, and I messed it up a ton, and you can see all the mistakes. And so making this and having all my GSRs turn out perfectly, good job me, just brought me a lot of joy. So I started this in 2022. I thought I would never get it done. It was this long for so many months. And finally last summer I bucked up and knit the top, which took like an hour. Once you get through all the body ribbing, the top you can finish in a couple of hours. So I did that. I'm so proud of myself for finishing it. This is really the motivation that I need right now because I have so many, well, not so many, but I have a couple projects on my needles that are really killing me to finish. And remembering that this took me a year to actually get done is motivating me to finish what I have on my needles right now, which is just what I need. But I just think this turned out beautiful. I think the yarn color is so nice, and I just love having these vibrant pops of color to bring a little something extra to the everyday. Next up, I like to call her Audrey 2, if anybody gets the Little Shop of Horrors reference. But this is my second Audrey tank top that I knit out of Cascade Yarns Pashmina. Nope, it's called Pandemonium. That's the name of it. And it's this beautiful coral color with kind of this milky white contrast stripe. This turned out so cute. This is a bamboo and cotton blend, I think. Coral colorway is number 26. And I'll have to get back to you about the milky white one. I love the feel of this yarn. It is so cooling feeling and super soft to the touch, like very silky. But I was really bummed because the yarn ball I had about 4 knots in it that were really obvious if I had worked them in. So I had a lot of ends to weave in, unfortunately. But I just love how it hangs. There's like almost no rolling of the hem just because it's, I don't know, the weight of the yarn, I guess. This is another one. I don't wear it because it's a little, you can kind of see a lot of texture through it. It's not see-through, but it's not very thick either. So it feels a little bit scandalous to me to wear. So this is also on display at the shop right now. But this is my Audrey top. Audrey 2 by Petite Knit. So it is a pattern, obviously I would knit again. I have yarn in my stash to make a sage green one that I think will just be beautiful, and I'll probably wear all the time. It's a cotton merino blend from Olivia and Oliver Fibers. I think that would be my wear all the time Audrey top. So that one will probably go back to live at the store a while longer. I have another really fun project that I do not wear, and it is my beautiful stripy turtle tank, which is another pattern by Emily Curtis. I have woven in all these ends. They're just not trimmed very closely. Maybe I should trim them a little more. I bought a set of minis from Sorella Yarn at the Flock Fiber Festival in all green and neutral shades, and using the Kinetic Knitters sock yarn in the color Mighty Pine as the main color. I worked them all up into this delightful stripy turtle tank. It's so beautiful. With this one, I think I wish I would have sized up one. I would like to wear it, I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right on my bod, but it's such a nice pattern and I made it a little too short. This one is bottom up as well, and it just, I really prefer a boxy garment. The things that I've made that are supposed to be form-fitting are the things I do not reach for. Even though they're beautiful, I just don't feel comfortable / confident wearing them. And this one, it just looks so beautiful on the hanger, but I just had an outfit idea for it. Oh my gosh, I should wear it with my army green Saison shorts that are really high-waisted, and I could tuck this in. And then I could wear a button, like a oversized white button up over it, and it would be so 90s. I need it to be summer right now. I have to try this on. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna try and wear this summer. I think the outfit I just described to you will be exquisite. I can't name all of the green colors. They will be in the description box below. But yeah, I really do recommend this pattern. It's so cute. Just make sure you make the right size for yourself, I guess, and have fun weaving in those ends. Next up, oh, this is so cute. This is my Semper Slipover, which is a pattern by the Knit Pro Girl. I knit this out of Sandnes Garn Sunday and Sandnes Garn Tinsilk Mohair. One of them is in that orange feeling, one of them is in the color orange. They're the same, the made for each other match. And I knit this inspired by a pattern, or not a pattern, an actual garment that was for sale on Boden.com, which is a really funky British retailer. And I just saw this for sale and I thought, I know exactly what pattern I can make to look like that and exactly what color of yarn I would choose. And that's exactly what I did. I sized up one from my size to do a slightly oversized V-neck slipover. And I made it very cropped because I wear this over a dress that I have. Silly me, I think I was trying to make it long enough to be able to wear over a t-shirt or something, but I made it a little bit too long to wear over the dress and a little bit too short to wear over a white button-up or something. So I think I should have just committed to making it a little bit short and wearing it largely over dresses, but that's okay. So I wore it last night over my dress. I felt very cute. It is quite cropped, and I think the pattern is all 1x1 ribbing, and I changed it all to 2x2 to fit the vibe I was going for. But boy, has this gotten me turned on to slipovers. They're really trending right now in the actual fashion world, not just the knitting fashion world, and I'm a big fan. I really want to make an oatmeal cabled one. I really want to make other bright green ones, or other bright colored ones, namely green, and some kind of crew neck ones, or maybe like a turtleneck one, I don't know. But I just love this thing. It was really fun to knit, I think, if I remember right. I don't think it took me too long, and I just love it. It's such a great color. I consider this a neutral these days. This bright poppy red orange. That's my Semper Slipover V-neck. I gotta say, I don't wear it too much because it's so cropped. There's more outfits I would like to wear it with. I think once it's t-shirt weather again, I'll get back to wearing it a little bit more because I do like how it looks over a white tee, but I haven't really done that with, maybe I could do that with a blazer? Could I wear a white tee with this and then put a blazer over it for winter? This video is helping me get some outfit inspiration, which is greatly needed right now. I'm gonna try that out. I have a camel blazer that would be a good outfit. Okay, the next thing I knit is another pair of socks. These ones are felting quite a bit because I wear them a lot. You can see exactly where my boots hit. But these are vanilla socks, one color, in Fairy Ring from Bigfoot Yarn Co., which is a local Washington hand dyer. And did my vanilla socks as normal, my favorite pattern. I did 1x1 rib for these, so it's literally pattern exact. And I knit these, I started them last spring and then finished them up in the fall on a trip to Vancouver. I knit them largely on the train. I was just happy to have another finished pair of socks. There's not much to say about these except for that the color is awesome and I wore them so much in the fall. They just work perfectly with all my fall colors, kind of, I mean, the bright red, the green, in my camel colored boots. They're just so cute. I cranked through those. What did we got? Like 5 pairs of socks last year as opposed to the 12 I was trying for. Oh well. Okay, next I finished my balloon sweater. So this beautiful thing is a pattern by Petite Knit, and I knit it as part of a knit along with Kahila from Handmade with K and Alex from Alexandra's Garn and a little bit Kalila from Copy Cali, but she did drop out. It's okay, no hard feelings. But Alex made the balloon cardigan in a hot pink color, and she finished way before Kahila and me. Kahila used a beautiful yarn that inspired this whole knit along. Rainbow Sprinkles from Camellia Fibre Co. And then mine is Flower Crown from Woolberry Fibre Co. on her BFL sock yarn base. Oh, I love BFL. And it's this beautiful, kind of creamy pink colorway, but I held it with Knitting for Olive, Soft Silk Mohair, in Soft Rose. So that was kind of a pink mohair that made everything have a little bit more of a pink hue. So the yarn is a little more creamy, but it has these beautiful blue and brown speckles, a little bit of lavender in there. And where's my other favorite speckle color? There you are. This is orange. What? It's so pretty. So the balloon sweater has these very dramatic balloon sleeves that look so good on. It's such a nice kind of in-between dressy and casual sweater. I knit it to a good length, and I know I'm a broken record, but I'm always really happy when it's a length that I'm happy with, because I feel like that's the hardest thing to get right for some reason. Here's the back, just so you can see a little more of the speckling. It's just lovely. I really went ham on this sweater in the fall to try and get it done. Oh, I did mod it with a folded neckband. The regular balloon sweater has a long kind of mock neck like what I'm wearing now. I don't know, I envisioned a folded neckband when I saw this sweater, and I really like how it turned out. It's a really nice pattern. This fabric is so wonderful. My ribbing also turned out a little wonky on this one, but I have a new trick for that now, which I guess I'll talk about in my next podcast episode. I'm so proud of myself for finishing this. Looking at the amount of things I knit last year is kind of bonkers. I treat this hobby like it's a full-time job. I mean, how many stitches did I knit last year? I mean, I remember counting the yoke of one of my sweaters had something like 5,000 stitches, and that's one part of one sweater of one wardrobe. I cannot believe the way that I do things. So apparently I only knit 2 hats last year. The second one was a replacement hat for my first hipster hat, rest in peace, that went through the wash and got felted. The one I remade is out of Sadness Garn Double Sunday in the color Statement Green. It's a little bit less blue than what's coming up on the camera right now, but I'm sure every one of you is familiar with Statement Green. It's a pretty popular color. But this turned out to be exactly what I needed it to be. I wear it exactly as much as my last hipster hat, and it's a great statement color. It kind of contrasts with all of my outfits in a really nice way. And I just realized I didn't actually make the hipster hat. I knitted the Sprague by Asa Bukta. It's a Berroco free pattern, and it's a 2x2 ribbed hat. I started out knitting the hipster hat, but then I quickly found out that my modded stitch count, whoops, did not line up with the pattern decreases for the hipster hat. So I happened to stumble upon an Instagram post from Berroco featuring this hat, and I thought, this has a circular decrease, I can do that. So this is actually the Sprague hat by Asa Bukta, which was a replacement for my initial hipster hat. Yeah, I knit it to, I mean, the perfect height for the crown and everything, and I just wear this all the time. I banked this out in one weekend because I needed to replace it, and I love it. I can't believe I only knit 2 hats last year. That kind of surprises me because I really like knitting them. I have some more on my wish list for sure this year, and I had a couple more I think I intended to knit last year, just didn't get around to it. So then I knit this. So my Louvre sweater, I think I actually cast on in the spring. that sounds right, and kind of put it aside for a while. But this is the Louvre by Petite Knit. It's a pretty oversized turtleneck, or not turtleneck, but kind of mock neck. And I used, as I said in the beginning, a Sorella Yarns Classic DK in the color Newsprint. This was a yarn I was really excited to use. It is a really nice neutral kind of gray base with kind of ink blue black speckles. It's supposed to look like the New York Times, and it does everything for me. I love how this turned out. My tubular cast on is exquisite. I know I use that word a lot, but it really turned out top notch. So I'm really impressed with how that turned out. I did have some issues with color pooling that I was unhappy with, but I kept going, and well, I frogged back like maybe a couple inches around the yoke going into the body, but it turned out just fine. I mean, there's a little striping that I don't care about. I blocked it and it grew about 4 inches in the body length and maybe 3-ish in the sleeves. And so after it was all done drying and blocking, I put it in the dryer for 5 minutes and it shrunk up to the perfect length and size and everything. So I'm really happy with the finished fit. It's perfectly oversized and I've been wearing it to work a lot. Something about, I don't know what it is, but just hand knit sweaters really elevate an outfit. I don't know what it is, but I've been wearing this, like I said, to work all the time and I just love it. I had to put in a fresh battery right before my final finished object of 2023, which is my shocking striped sweater. So I have a couple things that will be in the next podcast that I haven't shared about on the podcast as finished objects yet, but getting a little sneak peek here. So this is Shocking Stripes. It's a pattern by Tori Yu, and it's this really cute textured stripe pattern with a slight balloon sleeve. And this is another pattern that I knit in Tosh Wool Cycle Sport. The main color is called Antique Lace and the contrast color is called Neon Peach. And it has this really cute contrast neckband inside that's kind of like a little secret because you can't really see it when you're wearing it, but I think it's such a nice touch. And then it's striped all the way through. I love how this turned out. It became a little bit, I think just because I don't love ribbing and every other round of the stripe is knit 1 purl 1. So I think it ended up feeling a little bit too long, like I had to do too much ribbing, even though it was a different stitch pattern, like there was some alternating. It just felt like I was doing a lot of ribbing, but this is a sample that I knit for the store I work at, so it does live there. I wore it out once and I did feel really cute in it actually. I don't know, this also kind of reminds me of Bowden, which is a retailer I keep shopping at lately. Kind of funky colors, interesting color combinations, a little pop of neon, I don't know. I knit 1 size up, I think, from my normals. Or I'm right in between the size 1 and 2, and I ended up knitting the size 2. But it is a really cute fit. I think this one I might actually throw in the dryer as well, because it grew so much when blocking. I can see it being really nice for a spring kind of winter to spring transition piece. And I'm just really happy with how it turned out. So I can't quite believe we're here at the end. I do have 4 other finished objects that I don't have with me, which are itty bitty sweaters for my niece and nephew. I knit each of them a cardigan in the spring and then each of them a pullover in the fall. And they turned out really cute. So I will insert some pictures of theirs. The cardigans for my nephew's green one, I knit it with Berroco Vintage in the color Ochre. And then my niece's cardigan in the purple, I used Berroco Ultra Wool in Lilac. And those are both the Anchor cardigan by Petite Knit. They're very, very adorable. And they look adorable in them. And then the pullovers I knit my niece the Cotton Candy Raglan. Cotton Candy something. It has a cute little ruffle on the bottom, and I knit it in Madelinetosh Scar. I can't speak anymore. Madelinetosh Star Scatter in the Classic DK. It's such a beautiful yarn. She loves wearing it, which brings me so much joy. And then my nephews, I used Madelinetosh DK and Carolina Reaper, and I used the stitch counts for the Oh, cotton candy is not a raglan, I'm sorry. So that one's a circular yoke. And then I made my nephew's raglan using the stitch counts from Cotton Candy Sweater, but just adapted it into a raglan. I knit it too short, so he just brought it back for Christmas and I added a couple of inches, so hopefully he'll be able to wear it a little more. So I don't have those with me, but I also had those thrown in the mix. I haven't super had the knitting bug lately, but I am working through, I think, 5 projects on my needles right now, and I'm really looking forward to 2024 because basically I'm trying to knit through my stash this year. I'm kind of on a yarn ban until Flock Fibre Festival happens in August. So I'm really hoping to clear out a lot by then from my stash because it's really overwhelming me. I'm thinking about destashing some of it, quite a bit of it, which I'll probably hopefully talk about in my next podcast. I'll have some kind of way to sell it all set up, and so look out for that. Do I have any plans to share for 2024? I think mostly they might be the same goals as I had last year. Maybe they're a little more fully formed because I want to do a cable knit sweater, have cable socks. I want to do a colorwork sweater. I have a colorwork swatch done. I think the other goal is just knitting out of my stash. So honestly, for 2024, my goal is to go slow. I am really good at putting pressure on myself, and I want to try and do that less in 2024. So I want to become a monogamous knitter. That's my other goal. I mean, truly, I can't work on 5 sweaters at a time anymore. And so I think that that covers everything. Slow and steady wins the race in 2024. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have a favorite project of mine that maybe you want to make for yourself, I would love to hear about it. Or a favorite make that you made in 2023, I would love to hear that one too. Feel free to leave a comment. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos from me this year. And click the thumbs up as well if you enjoyed watching the video, and I'll plan on seeing you in the next one.